On today's episode of Watch Time, we're sitting down with Najada Davis again, and we're going to be talking about pricing and why different videographers charge different rates and what that should mean for you when you're trying to hire one. Stick around. Welcome back to Watch Time, everybody. We're here again with Najada Davis. What's up, Najada? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Yes.
Right? I'm back.
And
it's really the same day. I don't know if you noticed from this video and the last, but I have the same sweater on because it's the same day.
This is very true. But today I thought we would talk about, or in this episode, really what I want to talk about was just variable prices in video. So one of our most downloaded episodes was Why is Video So Expensive? And I think a lot of people out there that are listening or watching, they might even be thinking, because I feel like this is very common in, I guess in a lot of services, like you'll find like just a whole wide range of things. If you have somebody coming in to do work on your house, like, why is this so cheap? Why is this person so expensive? What are these people in the middle? And I think you're a great person to have this conversation with because, outside of working with us, you have your own stuff that you do, that, you run your own company, and then you also work with other companies. So you've really seen that wide range. And I think we can really kind of have this conversation to help the people that are watching, like kind of figure out like, what is the range for you and why is it costing what it does?
I think that the ranges of in pricing, right? I think why there's such a, I guess you would say like a discrepancy, or why are we not charging the same price as everybody? Probably mainly because people don't talk about it. There's not clear communication between, what should cost, why headshots should cost this much money. And then everybody jump in and do it. And then the people who are hiring you for headshots, they know they're going to pay a certain amount for headshots because it's clear across the board. That's what it costs. And they're only working with you because they want to work with you and they don't want to work with the other person, and something like that, right? Well, it's because I think we're all craftsmen, right? And there's a lot of freedom in being able to choose your own, work at your own price. Yeah. And so it creates a weird competition. But it also allows people to charge more to put themselves in a different bracket, maybe based on experience and the product that they know they can turn out. Some folks just want to do projects that cost $50,000. They do 2 of those in a year and they don't do any more work. Yeah. But I think there's a lot of stress, a lot of headache that goes with those projects too. And they make enough to just kind of sit back and never do another project for the rest of the year. Okay. But then there's folks who will do multiple projects on a smaller scale, and they're going to charge a different amount for them. Why things cost so much, and it's really up to you. But I think it's big. What category do you want to put yourself in? I think it has a lot to do. What clients? Where's my target audience? And what can I charge that person? What can I charge that company? And what's realistic? What are their needs? Mm-hmm. I think that stuff that's what you should be thinking about. People who are just throwing out prices, I don't know how successful you're going to be just because you put a price on your services. You should definitely be thinking about the people that you're marketing to. What they're going to be able to pay and, what's reasonable. And then you work around like, okay, how much time am I putting into this? Right? How much time and effort and how much really can I realistically invest? If I'm going around shooting weddings and I've got a red camera that costs $20,000 and lenses that cost $20,000 a piece. So I'm walking around with like, just then that little bit of a kit, maybe I'm spending $150,000 on just my camera kit and I'm doing weddings for $1,000. I'm an idiot. Sorry. But I'm never going to make my money back. Mm-hmm. And this stuff might look great, but I'm going to run myself into the dirt. Somebody's going to come looking for me because I can't pay my bills and I can't pay back all the money I spent on all this gear unless, my dad gave it to me or something like that. But at that rate, you should probably, the work that you turn out should be better. Hopefully it is. And then you should be able to charge more for your work, and you're putting yourself in a different bracket. Where you're not working with people who are trying to get their things done for $1,500, $2,000. You're working with people who are maybe spending, $5,000 to $10,000 or more on this product.
Yeah.
If not, keep that camera at home.
Yeah.
Use it on the commercial, use it on that $200,000 commercial.
Yeah.
That you can, you can charge what it's worth to bring that type of gear, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of things that go into like thinking about it, but I don't think it's just one thing.
Yeah, there's a lot there that I feel like, and you made good points, and I think for the people that are listening and watching, anybody that's listened to this podcast in the past knows, like, we always talk about, like, there's different projects for different companies, and people have different budgets, and you do get what you pay for to some extent, but like, you could have a really talented person, to your point, that's good at what they do. They just don't know what to charge quite yet, and so you're still kind of getting really good work for a lower rate. Gear is a big part, I know, that plays into that. So if you're trying to think, like, why does it cost this for this company? There may be more gear, there may be more overhead. So that's always a good way to look at it. But I also feel like, the thing is like any industry out there, I love using trades as an analogy. My family, they were all in the trades, so I feel like that's always something that I fall back on, just knowing other people in the trades. And like, great example, my wife and I, when we got married, we had our starter home and we needed work done to our starter home. So you start calling around for contractors, and you don't really know what things are going to cost. So you always get multiple quotes, which, anybody that's watching, you'd probably know that. Get multiple quotes. It's good to see the what varies, and you can kind of compare. But we would have people come in, and we would always go as newlyweds. We go with the lowest quote because, like, that was what was in our budget. And, we've had times where, the work was probably just slightly better than what I could have done, but I didn't have to spend my time on it. And as we've gotten older and been married longer, we started to realize, okay, we need to save up some money to be able to have at least middle of the road contractors. And we've been working with them for the most part. And that does come out where it's like, wow, this is great. I didn't have to do it. I wouldn't have been able to do this work. So I feel like that's something for people that are kind of listening. Like, when you think, well, price point wise, like, I could work with this videographer for $1,000, and maybe he has the red camera. Which, for those of you, if you don't know what that is, it's a very expensive camera, as Najada mentioned. And then, maybe the middle of the road guy has a lesser camera, but better skills, and he's going to get a little bit more accomplished. Who knows? And then maybe that top of the, I guess, high dollar person you could work with, they're going to bring more people. They're going to bring more equipment. They're going to focus more on, maybe more on your story and more on different aspects of the production to make sure everything goes smoothly. But I mean, really, when you start thinking about that, like, there's a lot of variables that play into that. And I know we were talking about some of the conversations that, the big thing out there is there's a lot of people that don't know what they don't know until they start to come up in their career.
I think there's a lot that goes into, like, you got to recognize a lot of these folks they have to pay bills, and that money's got to go somewhere. So when you pay someone a certain amount of money, a certain amount of that is going to be going, like, you're putting food on their table, right? So then how much of this is actually going into the product as opposed to them taking it home? So if you pay somebody to show up for a couple $100, and then they're like, oh man, I want a music video. And you pay that guy $500 and he shows up with his camera. And, video comes out like dude who just showed up with his camera and not like big production. It's because you gave that guy enough money to show up, take it home, and eat for a couple days. You didn't really give him enough money to come, show up, take money home, and put into, all right, let me hire a couple other people. Let me get your production. Let me get you some fake money. You didn't do any of that. So you got to be like, all right, that's what people say, oh, you get what you paid for. Because you paid for one plate of food, you didn't get 3 courses, right? You didn't get 3 courses because you didn't pay for it. So
I mean, that's a good point, because I feel like, and this kind of ties back into as well, like what we've said on this podcast numerous times. Kathy and I always talk about it, that, you can do your own work. You can, there's a place for everything. And like, kind of like thinking about back to what I was saying, like when I was a newlywed, like I looked at the work and I was like, well, I could probably have done that, but I didn't have to. And people out there listening, you probably realize your time is worth something. So, some of these people that are starting off in their career, that are trying to get their foot in the door, like maybe they're charging those rates. Maybe that's a good solution for you. Maybe you just need somebody, like, I can't get to it, but if somebody could put it together, and then you build a relationship with that person and you can grow your business, and you could start to pay them a little bit more money because they're getting experience. So there's a lot of good things to that extent, because I guess the big thing is, I don't want to completely say like, hey, don't work with these people that are charging little amounts, because, this is a good opportunity for them to kind of grow. And it's a good opportunity for people that need those services at discounted rates, because small business, you're trying to fit things in your budget.
Right. I definitely think there is a time and place to use certain services and pay a certain amount, especially if you're just in that realm. I definitely think some of your best clients will probably be the ones who have tried to do it themselves, whether they tried and failed or they were just like, you know what, I don't want to spend my time doing this anymore. And you guys could probably do it better. Those folks are the educated clients. The educated clients are the ones that you want to work with, because they know what it takes. And usually they'll be okay when you send them a price. They'll be like, yeah, that's great, because I tried to do it and I know how much time I spent on that and how much money I could make in the amount of time that I spent on that. I didn't make anything, because I was sitting there working on this video and I didn't know what I was doing. And I spent more time learning than I did actually making the product. And then the product was subpar. So I give it to you guys. You guys are professionals. I'll spend less money, no matter what it is. I'll spend less money for you guys to do it in less time than the amount of money that I would waste on sitting there learning and then getting a worse product. So I try to do quite a bit of teaching when I can to certain people who are like, hey man, I want you to do this thing and it's gonna be really simple, like edit a YouTube video or something. And I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. But you want me to edit this YouTube video because you want to create a series of videos. And I don't really want to be the guy editing all of these YouTube videos forever. So how about I show you, especially for like no money, because they're like, oh, I don't have enough money, So I'm like, how about this? You give me the money that you wanted to pay me to do this video, and I'll show you how to do that consistently on a level that's attainable for you. And then they may do that, if it works out, they may do that for quite a bit of time. And then until one day they might want to step it up. And then they'll have a little bit of knowledge behind what they've done, what they've achieved. And hopefully by bringing somebody else in, that they get a better product. And then they're like, yeah, this was worth it, because I know what I could do on my own, but I need you. So they'll be willing to pay you what they'll be like, oh man, I got $100 for you to do this thing. I'm like, give me that $100. I'll show up for like an hour or two and run you through your editing software. Boom. They go running with that. And then they'll come back to me and I'm, hey man, can you do this? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, that's going to be like, I might come through like for a couple of hours, that's going to be $600 to $1,000. They'll be like, great. Because they know what they can do with that now. And it's not like, I don't really have enough. They know what it can do, no matter how much money they're getting ready to pay, how much it's going to be worth. Because they're educated.
And that's a good point, because I feel like, it just as we were saying, you don't know what you don't know. For the producer, the person who's actually making the product, you don't know if you don't know what you don't know if you're the client. And that's kind of the purpose of the podcast, and like why we talk about all this stuff, is really trying to educate people that are looking to have videos created or do video marketing, and how does that play into everything. And, you mentioned something prior to the podcast that I loved. You said if somebody wants a brand video done for their website, and then, you're going to say like, well, we want to pay you $1,500, and a brand video is something that, once you get a video on your website, it's probably going to be there for about 5 years, because, you want it to be something that can stand the test of time. And website videos usually are higher dollar production. And, the point you made is, what is the return on investment you're going to get in that video? Are you going to make that $1,500 back? And that's something that, you really need to think about when you do hire someone to create any type of marketing or sales materials is, what's the return on investment? How do we get that back? Because to your point, in 5 years, if you only pay $1,500, you may not be available to shoot the next video because that's all, is it reasonable if you break that $1,500 down over 5 years and what they're getting out of it? A great example I feel like of that is if you're selling a service and one customer for your service makes you $5,000 and you paid $1,500 for a video. Well, I mean, that's, your return on investment is great. I mean, you have to look at what your costs are and stuff, but that's just one person versus like, obviously if you're selling cookies or something like that and, it's $3 a cookie, you got to look at how many cookies do I have to sell with this video on my website in the next year. Right. And oftentimes that's why you might see like videos and, if you're in the food industry, you might see videos maybe aren't as flashy, depending on the restaurant or the service because they just, they don't have that in their budget. They haven't been able to figure out where the return is there.
Right. And I think if you want to look at folks like, I don't know, like really big time people, almost like it was like an Applebee's commercial or something like that, right? Where there's like food and they're like, oh, come on. Just think about it. Like how many of these stores are there? Yeah. And how they're all putting into the same national commercial. Yeah. Right. And then you've got the one business where they're selling cookies. And this isn't like, oh, you got like 6 or 7 stores where all of their income is like putting into the one video. This is just the one store and I'm trying to sell cookies. So less money needs to be put into the actual production of the video. Yeah. Then more money should be put into the actual advertising and marketing of the video. Like more thought needs to be put into that because once you get the product, you really got to do a lot of legwork because, right, you need to make that return on your investment and your products are selling for, very cheap. So you definitely want to make your money back and exceed that in profit. So, we do a lot of creative work as creatives, but we definitely have to have knowledge. I think that's where a lot of people lack. We have to have knowledge of the business. Yeah. And we have to have knowledge of the business and the niche that we're getting into so that we can price accordingly and we can talk to these people and say, this is your product. This is your target market. Okay, cool. This is what I can do for you that I know will work. Mm-hmm. I know you want a video and you want it to look like that. You want to be flashy, but you don't need that. Yeah. And that right there would cost you way more money than you could, for it to be good. It will cost way more than you would ever get back. But I can do this for you. I can make this real. Mm-hmm. I can do some social media clips and we can do that for less and then make sure that it, we can build you a plan, right? You can work with people who build a plan and they actually disseminate the product and they deliver it to your clients. That's what you want to kind of be looking at, especially in the beginning stages of your business and, depending on where you are, you got to make sure you can get that final product to your people and to your audience. Yeah. Right. And then you can make the return. So I definitely think sometimes it's not always about what's happening in production, as you've got to have your audience first. And I tell this to like music video guys, and I don't do as many music videos anymore, but like I would, people had a plan. I would even, I would just be willing to help some people out, but they don't have an audience. They don't have their music out online. They're like, oh, I'm on SoundCloud. And it's like, oh, okay, it's cool. You're on SoundCloud. But I need more from you. Yeah. I need you to be working. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I could just come out the closet last year. I need a video. No, you don't. You need photos. Yeah. And that's going to be easier for me. It's going to be easier for everybody else. It's going to be easier on your budget. Mm-hmm. If I can just take some photos of you, you can hit the ground running on Instagram and start building your following. Yeah. Then you can come back to me and we can talk about making a music video when there's something to attain on the other end. Oh, I got a show coming up. I want to go on tour. Cool. Then a video might be dope. Yeah. But right now, you need to be, let's get realistic. Yeah. You're not Michael Jackson. You're not Eminem. Yeah. And nobody knows who you are. Yeah. Go and get your following.
I love having these conversations with you because I feel like that's a good point. And like, that's very much a strategy perspective, which I think, to your point, having knowledge of the business or what you're doing, and people, listening, watching, that's something to consider. Like I always tell clients, like, they've worked with different videographers and they go, I just told them I wanted a hype video and they're like, okay, cool. And they showed up, shot it, give it to them. And I said, to me, that's always a red flag because that's kind of my first step. That's always been my first step. And we've kind of built the business on that is, okay, well, let's stop for a second. Like, yeah, you want a video? That's cool. Why do you want a video? Because there's always a reason behind it. Usually it's like, I want more customers or, I want to be able to try and grab more email addresses, things like that. So you're like, okay, let's figure out why you want that. Then let's figure out who are we actually trying to talk to? Because that's something that like a lot of people don't think about. Mm-hmm. And then, maybe video is not the right approach for you. I mean, to your point, like I had a guy call me one time, and this will probably amaze people. I think I might have even mentioned on the podcast before, but I got a guy call me and he goes, I want a video for my my company. And I go, why do you want a video? And he goes, video's hot. Like I was talking to like somebody else that I know that's in business, like you got to have a video. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I go, well, what's your company name? And that he gives me his company name. I'm looking it up. We're talking. And I noticed he wants a Facebook. So I want it on social media. I want to run ads. Mm-hmm. So like I'm looking, like he doesn't have a website. So like didn't have a website. And then like he didn't have like, he had a Facebook page, but like it had like a couple followers and like he only posted a handful of times. And I told the guy, I was like, listen, I said, I think a video is a great investment for a company. I said, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I go, you don't have a website. I go, and you only have a couple followers on Facebook. I go, so nobody's going to see this content if you run it organically. You'd have to run ads. I go and grow that following. I go, but even when people watch the video, if you're trying to drive them back to your website to buy your product, there's no website. So I was like, so really what you need right now is take that budget and you need a website. And I was like, I know some website designers if you don't have one already, and I'll connect you. And that's what you should spend your money on this year. And then next year, if things are going good, then give me a call back.
Right.
We'll build your video for you.
Yeah, right. I've told people similar things, man, that you need that ecosystem and you need to bring it home, right? Like once you send something back out, they've got to be able to come back. So you need this whole thing to go full circle. And I try to do something similar with myself, just self-promotion and different things like that. Some things I need to be better with, especially like posting on social media. But I think you definitely have to have the website, right? And then when people search your name, like how do you come up? You got to pay attention to like things like, search engine optimization or whatever, SEO. And you've got to figure out like, how can I bring people back home? If people are on Instagram, where are they going? Okay, there's the link tree thing that people came out with, right? So follow the link in the bio. Like now you can have multiple links in your bio. You have to make a link tree. If you don't have a link tree and you're always changing the links people are clicking to, when somebody goes back to that old post on Instagram that's like 4 months old and says, knew this, knew that, just check the link in the bio, and they go and click the link in the bio and it's for something else, you're not paying attention to the roads and the routes that you're sending your people. Yeah. Right? Turn right over there and you'll end up at the Shell gas station and it ends up being a BP. You're giving out the wrong information. Yeah. So build the link tree because it's simple, and then have the different places for people, and make sure you maintain that. These are simple things that you can do, or you can hire someone else to do these things to make sure that it's consistent and that you're being consistent. And I think that's the big thing that you're talking about is like, we need consistency here, man. We need you to post more often. Like I'm all in with your business. If you want to hire me, cool. But I'm all in with you. You got to be all in with me. And this Facebook thing, it's one post every 6 months. That's not you getting you anywhere, and that's not going to get me anywhere. So I need you to start posting more often. I need you to build more social media accounts. I need you to have a full circle. Yeah. And if your LinkedIn is all whack and dry and it looks like you don't exist, put up a profile picture, finish the profile, man, and bring it all home.
That's all great advice for anyone listening, watching. Like that's really starting to think of your marketing and your sales and your process for your business as being one cohesive circle, like Najada is saying. And kind of tying it back into like we were talking, like why are all these variables out there? Like why can a video cost so little to so much? And this kind of ties into that in terms of you're talking about levels of experience. Some people think it's equipment or it's people, and sometimes it is equipment and people because you have things that you have to pay. Cameras can cost tens of thousands of dollars, lighting can cost thousands of dollars. But part of it too is the person you're hiring to make those decisions. So, what Najada's talking about, when you work with somebody like Najada, you're working with somebody who understands how everything goes together. Because, a lot of times now, back, I'd say back 20 years ago, if you wanted to advertise, like I got to go to an advertising agency, I got to go find a marketing company. But there's so many things, thanks to social media, that you have these opportunities where you can run your own ads. You don't have to be on television. You can do things, email marketing. So now the need to go to an agency isn't always there. So then you start building it out as a business owner thinking, or even as a marketing agency thinking, we need to have somebody that, a video company. So you go to that video company, and really, I think a true test for a video company is more than just making a great product, but it's looking out for what you need and then being able to give that hard advice and saying like, I feel like that's a good.
I definitely think, and that's so true. And I also think that it's easier for the internet to make things all convoluted and confusing. Yeah. So it's easier for you to jump out as a business owner and be like, all right, I can go direct to the customer. I can go direct to whoever I want. And I can talk right to these people. And I think that if more people work with ad agencies, maybe things will be, prices would probably be more generalized. Like it wouldn't be all over the place. And people would start to get what they want, and they would get what they would get what they need, and they would get what fits the budget and everything like that. But the good thing about having an ad agency in the middle is that there are people in the ad agency who know how to speak the language of the media producers. Okay, right? You're talking to these creatives, they speak that language. If you are the cookie baker, right? You're the baker and you don't know anything about video, but you think you knew on a video and you want to advertise and you want all, you're a baker. A lot of people are like, man, I'm a baker. I don't know nothing about that. I need you to handle it. Cool. But just because I'm a videographer doesn't mean I know how to run ads. Yeah. That doesn't mean I know anything about the direction that you're going or anything like that. But if you spoke to, like a producer or somebody at the ad agency, they like, all right, we got you. We know exactly what you need. They'll go into it deeper, and then they'll be able to give the plan to the people who are producing the product. And then some of those people just follow the plan. It's like, I don't know how to cook, but I know how to follow directions. I'm going to follow a recipe. That ad agency or that marketing company is going to give the recipe to the creators, and the creators are going to follow the recipe. Oh, that's great. And then it's going to come out. It's going to be perfect. But if you don't have the plan and you don't have the time to commit to building the plan to then give to the creators, they're going to be like, okay, I guess, and maybe some of them will just take your money and run with it. And you'll be like, well, I think we didn't really hit the mark. Yeah. Right? So you've got to be able to speak these languages, and then you should always know how educated you are, what you know and what you don't know. Because how many times have we gone into an electronic store of some sort and then been like, oh, and walk out and be like, I knew more than that guy, and all I did was read the manual, So, so, even though you go to somebody who you expect to know it, sometimes you will know it more because you educated yourself. But it takes that time to, step into the library sometimes, read a book for a little bit, and then, make those decisions for yourself.
And that's the one big thing, because I know we're probably going to get people that are listening that are video production people, and they're going to be like, wait a second, I charge $1,000, wait. And it's not, and like I always say in this show, and I've said this in numerous episodes, it's not, everyone's growing, everyone's trying to build themselves up, and, and there's nothing wrong with, getting started or charging a certain price point. And that's where really as a consumer, to your point, go in, you have that knowledge and talk to that person and see, because, at the end of the day, the reason why, there are all these very varied prices, but I think it's great because depending on the business that needs the product, I think depending on the person and where they are in their business, there's options versus 20, 30 years ago, if you couldn't even be in this industry unless you could own the equipment. So there was only a handful of people that you could even go to, and those people were charging ridiculous rates. So if you wanted video, you're out of luck. You just couldn't even have anything. So you couldn't even touch these companies. And now there's so many things between, having your phone to having somebody come in that's still getting started, having somebody that maybe is started, but they're still trying to grow their clientele. And what's great about that is you really can grow with them and scale with them together. And what I want to do, for everyone listening, wrapping this kind of up and kind of summarizing it, because I know we covered so much stuff with this and how this kind of plays into you trying to make a better decision. I'd say, get some quotes, ask some questions, and just because somebody's cheaper doesn't mean they're not the right choice. Maybe they're the right choice for you, but you really have to become a more educated buyer, because that's going to help you. And this was a great step towards that, because that's going to help you make a better decision. Because, to your point, you need somebody who can really like diagnose your problem. If you need to get your appendix out, you're not going to go to your dentist, and you're not going to go, you know what I mean? And you're not, if you have a bad tooth, you're not going to try and remove it yourself. You're going to go to a professional. So, you really need to talk to somebody who's like the right person for that. So maybe if you're trying to run a bunch of ads, or you're trying to do more with your marketing, go to that marketing agency, go to that advertising agency, start talking with them. If you're like, hey, I just want to have a video for my website and integrate that, then start talking to a video production company if that's the route you want to go. But really do a good job at talking to them and pay attention to the questions they ask, because I think that's going to tell you, ultimately who you want to work with based on your budget and where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
But no, this has been awesome. I'm glad to have you on again, and we're going to have you on again in the future in a different shirt.
Okay.
And
hey.
And Najada, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Watch Time. We hope you guys enjoyed today's episode.
And remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes.
And if you want your question answered on our podcast, go to flexmediacle.com/watchtime.